Hey, Allison Verhalen here with AV Writing Services, and today I want to talk to you about how to write a sales page that actually converts, right? So the sales page is a page on your website where the main goal of that page, the thing that you want everyone who reaches that page to do, is to buy something from you. And it's always going to be a specific product or service. Don't have a sales page where you sell everything and tell them everything that you provide, unless you only provide one thing, in which case that's not a great business model. So have a sales page for each product or service that you provide, and make sure that the thing that you want them to do is click that buy button at the very bottom or at the very top of that page, or somewhere in the middle, depending on how long it is, depending on what their buyer journey looks like. So that's what a sales page is. You can have a landing page on your website where the call to action might be a little bit different. A landing page can be a sales page, but it's not always. Sometimes a landing page just wants someone to sign up for your webinar or subscribe to your newsletter, sometimes both, depending on what your email funnel looks like. So that's what a sales page is. That's what we're talking about. So first of all, the first thing you have to do is define your target audience. Who are you serving? Who has this specific problem that you are solving for them? Know where they're hanging out online, know their age range, know their income level, know if they have a family, know what their interests are, what other social media people or brands or accounts are they following, what are they commenting on, what really interests and engages them. And again, it always comes back to that pain point. You want to know those other things too, but the pain point is always going to be the focus of your content, especially on your sales page. You have to motivate them to buy, and as depressing as it might sound, fear and pain motivate us to buy a lot. It could be anxiety, it could be fear of something happening in the future if we don't take advantage of something. Insurance marketing relies on this, right? You're not in pain right now, but you could be, and it could be much worse pain if you don't take these steps to make sure you're covered right now. So define your target audience and define your offer. So you've got those two and you know how they work together. Next, you're gonna build your funnel and optimize it, right? So the sales page is the very end of the funnel. They're not necessarily gonna go straight there from nowhere, unless your SEO is really great, and we'll get to that in a minute. But chances are maybe they found you on social media, maybe they heard about you from a friend, maybe they saw one of your ads. And depending on how long your funnel is, depending on what you're selling, they're not necessarily going to go straight to buying. They're going to want to get that buy-in first. So maybe they've read some blog posts, maybe they've been reading your newsletter for a while, and they just heard about this new product or service that you provided, and they're a little bit curious about it. Maybe they go to the sales page to find out more about it. Or maybe they need something specific, and again, they've been following you for a while and they're like, oh, I bet this brand sells it, I bet this company can help me out. And that's how they end up on your sales page. So that's great, right? You want to get them there, and then you have to convert them. So once you have all of those things in place, then you're gonna do your keyword research. And this is where the SEO part comes in, because sometimes people do search for what they're looking for. Maybe they're not looking for tips, maybe they're not looking for how-tos, they're just like, I just need someone who sells insurance for divorced women, right? I need this very specific thing. And that is where your keyword research comes in, and you're gonna wanna make sure that you optimize for those keywords with a high buyer intent, and put those keywords on your sales page so that people will find you when they're searching those terms, right? So you've got them, they're on your sales page, and then you're gonna make sure that it's long enough, but not too long. And again, this depends on what it is that you're selling. Generally a higher price point, you're gonna want longer content, you're gonna wanna lay out all the benefits for them, really convince them that this is going to make their lives so much better, right? Because without that, you're not gonna get that buy-in, you're not gonna convince them to hand over as much money as you need them to hand over, right? So if it's something a little bit smaller, like a t-shirt or some jewelry or pet supply products, maybe personal hygiene, those can be shorter, right? This is just a quick, this is why you need this is what it's gonna do for you or your pet if you're buying for your pet. Just really quick and easy. And that's all you really need, but some of them need it longer. If it's a more expensive item or a service, especially if you're in a B2B industry, you're gonna have to work a little bit harder to get that buy-in. So you're gonna wanna make sure you do that, and then you're gonna wanna make sure you use the right call to action at the very end, right? Because if you don't use the right call to action, if that wording is not just perfect to motivate them to say, yes, I need this, and they click on that buy button there, then they're not gonna buy. And then you've wasted their time, you've wasted your time. So do some A/B testing with that call to action. Try out different phrases, try out different lengths, see what gets the best results for you, because you really have to perfect that call to action. And then you're also gonna test your design, right? So we don't do design, but we know people who do. We focus mostly on the content, but sometimes your content is great. But even if the placement is a little off, or it's a little weird, or it's just, even the color can have a significant difference. And I know this sounds bizarre, but talk to any psychologist and they will tell you that color actually has a very real impact on whether we feel motivated to buy, whether we prefer what we're drinking out of that particular colored mug. It really does make a big difference. So test out the design. Is the buy button not big enough? Is it too big? Is it in a weird place? Is it hard for people to find? Is it the wrong color? So you're gonna wanna test out these things. And again, make sure that you get the best results. So you've got the right call to action, you're gonna test that, you're gonna test the length, you're gonna test the design, you're gonna test all of these different things to see what gets the best results. And then you're also gonna perfect your headline, right? It's what makes people click, especially if you're coming up in Google and they're not sure what you're all about. If your headline doesn't compel them, they're not going to click through, and then you have no chance to convert them into a buyer. So that headline has got to be perfect. So you're going to want to do some testing. And if they're getting your newsletter, and maybe you're announcing it in your newsletter, and they get that email in their inbox and they see the headline in it, they just don't care, then you've lost them. So perfect that headline, and then use bullet points in the content. Always. It doesn't matter what your price point is, it doesn't matter what it is you're selling, you're going to want to make it really easy for them to just see all of those benefits, and focus on the benefits in those bullet points, not the features. I know that you get very excited about all the features that you manage to work into this product or service. I get it, we've all been there, but your customer does not care. They want to know how your product or service is going to help them. How will it change their life? So that's what you need to do. You need to make sure that it is in all those bullet points, right? And then make it mobile friendly. And a lot of these things work in together, right? If you've got the bullet points, it's going to be more mobile friendly, right? It's going to be easier for them to see. Make sure that the whole page shows up when they click on it on their phone or tablet. Make sure it doesn't get cut off at any point, because again, if they can't read all of your content, if they can't find the buy button because it got cut off when they looked at it on a mobile device, then you're not going to convert them. So always, always, always make sure that it works on a mobile device, and use proper images and video, right? So we are visual creatures, and yes, the content matters, especially for SEO. They're going to read that content to get the buy-in, but what's going to engage them before they even get to reading the content is the images and video. And if you do have an expensive product or service, if you're in the B2B industry and you really spend a lot of time on that content, having images and video in there to break it up can be really beneficial, and again, keep them engaged. If they just see a whole bunch of text all clumped in there together, that's going to turn them off before they even start reading, because it looks very overwhelming. If you have a product that you can showcase in a video and show people how to use it and how it works, that can be very compelling. There's a reason we see all these advertisements with kitchen equipment and various appliances and lawn care equipment showing us how to use that product, right? So take advantage of that on your sales page. Use a video that shows them exactly how it's going to work. And part of the way you can do this is in our next tip is provide social proof. You want testimonials. You want pictures and videos of other people using the product or service, preferably smiling, having a great time, because their lives are so much easier. And you can absolutely pay people to do this for like promotional images. But if you could get people who, real customers who use your product, who post about it either on social media, or maybe they sent you an email about it because they were so excited, convince them to send that stuff to you, because that is hugely important for getting that buy-in, right? And next, you're going to test your content with and without links. So again, if you're selling something that's at a low price point, you don't have a whole lot of content, maybe don't bother using links. But again, if you're in a B2B industry or a service-based industry, people are going to want to get that buy-in. They're going to want to make sure that this is something that they really do need and that you really can provide them with the products and services they need. You really can make their lives better. So you're going to want to get some research in there. And you might want some links to other research, to other pages. That's going to boost your SEO. And it's going to help get that buy-in, because they're going to know that you did your research and yes, they really do need this product or service. So, but again, it's a little iffy because, they're on your sales page. The last thing they have to do is click that buy button or reach out to you for information or whatever it is. So maybe you don't want to lead them to another website. I totally get that. That is why you should always make sure it opens in another tab. But again, test with and without links. Maybe even if you do have longer content, maybe you have better results without any links. So that's something to consider. Next up, use live chat, right? Those little live chat buttons. You don't have to be available 24/7. You can hire a company to do that for you. You can use the little bots. It's more affordable than you think, and it's engaging. It helps people. It helps your SEO, and it helps people engage with it. And if they have any questions, they can ask, which we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But that can keep people engaged, and people who might otherwise, show up, maybe read through your content, and then leave and not really do anything. A chat bot can really engage them and keep them hanging around and give them a reason to buy, which is what it's all about, right? So consider using chatbots and consider using exit intent pop-ups, right? That's when the cursor hovers over the browser at the top, they're about to leave the page, and you go, no, wait, don't leave. Here's a special offer, or here's why maybe you just twist that knife a little bit in that pain point, right? Just remind them, like, are you sure that you want to give up on these benefits that we provide? You sure you don't want this in your life right now? Exit intent pop-ups can be huge for engaging people and, again, getting them to take that final step to buy, especially if you provide a special offer in that pop-up. So you've got your pop-ups. Oh, the FAQs is what I said I was going to talk about. So have an FAQ section. If you've been doing this for a while, I'm sure there are questions you have heard again and again and again. They're the same old excuses for not buying your stuff, right? Have a whole section on your sales page that addresses those and have answers to them. Tell them why they should buy your product anyway, or if they're confused about how the product or service works, talk about that in your FAQ section. Take advantage of that so that they don't have to reach out and ask you, because most of the time they're gonna wonder about it, but they might not necessarily reach out and ask you. They might just go, well, I don't know if this is really right for me, and they'll click away. And having an FAQ section is a way to nip that in the bud, right? Just right away, so nope, I know your concerns and I am addressing them all here, so you don't have to worry about it. You can still buy from us. So finally, the very last thing you need to do after they have clicked that buy button, they've gotten your product or service, you're all living happily ever after, you want to provide social share buttons so that they can share about the product or service on social media. Say, hey, I just bought this thing or this service from company XYZ. And then if they love it, so that gets you in front of their audience in an organic way, right? You didn't pay for that audience. You didn't pay to get in front of them. You just organically got someone to share about your brand in a tweet or a Facebook post or whatever it is. So those are hugely beneficial because, again, that's providing social proof. That goes back to the social proof thing. And you just got it for free. You didn't even have to pay for it. So that can be hugely beneficial. just by providing a little button right after they buy. So that is it. Those are our tips for creating a sales page that really converts, that gets the results you need it to. Again, I'm Allison Verhalen with AV Writing Services. You can find us at avwritingservices.com, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly at info@avwritingservices.com. Have a great week and happy marketing.